Magandang araw! April Marcas po, ang inyong pretty ate sa EdTech Unit. Alam ba ninyo na may webinar o online training session ng EdTech Unit tuwing Sabado? Ang araw na ito ay nakalaan para sa ating mga mahal na kaguruan upang turuan sila ng mga bagong kaalaman at kakayahan sa paggamit ng makabagong software at applications para sa pinaka-epektibong paraan at lubos mapaghusay ang kanilang paraan ng pagtuturo. This is also our refresher session for our beloved teachers to enhance their skills in technology. Every Saturday, we will conduct webinar sessions for teachers about the use, advantages, and relevance of different blended learning software applications. Ang webinar seryeng ito ay magsisimula ng alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali para sa morning session. Magsisimula naman ng alauna at magtatapos ng alas 4 ng hapon ang afternoon session. You can watch us in our DepEd EdTech Unit Facebook page, Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd Philippines. Kita-kits tayo tuwing Sabado!
Magandang araw! Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang itulay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang itulay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICTS Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Alain Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na Pivot ang ginagamit sa ating itulay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat, lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga senior high school learners and parents who are watching our live stream of our Itulay online tutorial. At pa-shoutout din po sa aming Education Program Supervisor in Araling Panlipunan ng DepEd Ormoc City Division na si Dr. Elvin Wenceslao at ang School Principal ng New Ormoc City National High School na si Ma'am Roda Dinoy. Good afternoon po sa inyo, Doc Elvin and Ma'am Dinoy. And also, I would like to greet din po ang lahat ng mga research teachers, na nanunood sa ating session ngayon. Live na live po tayo sa DepEd EdTech Unit FB page at DepEd YouTube channels. Alright? At magandang hapon din po sa lahat ng ating online viewers. Hello po and welcome to our Itulay tutorial session. Charlie, Chona, Lorenzo, CJ, Maria Gloria, Miggy, Jane Wency, Stacy, Princess, Jay, and a lot more. Ako po si Tutor June at muli, samahan niyo ako class as we learn very important topics for inquiries, investigations, and immersion. And today's exciting session will lead us to understand our topic on Quarter 4, Week 5, which covers the summary, conclusion, and recommendation of our research study. Specifically, at the end of this tutorial session, you are going to give the summary of your findings, form logical conclusions, and make recommendations based on the conclusions derived from the study. And take note, class, na ito pong ating discussion ngayon is going to be our last discussion for 3 I's. Since in the coming weeks, ang gagawin natin ay magpa-finalize na po tayo ng ating mga research papers dahil you are expected to present your complete written research report po para sa ating culminating activity. All right? At next week din class, we will have our schedule sa ating summative examination for the fourth quarter. All right? So alam ko, kayang-kaya niyo yan class. Huwag lang natin kalimutan ang ating mga natutunan sa ating weekly tutorial sessions. All right? Okay, but before we going into the details of our lesson today, class, we are going to have this activity first na pinamagatang Miss Pretty Nose. All right? In this activity, okay, we are going to feel the brighter side of life which is brought about by love. Pero ang tanong, for those who are in a relationship, what made you feel in love with your girlfriend or boyfriend or with your husband or wife? All right? So with this, I'm going to let you watch a short film titled Miss Pretty Nose. I will pause each significant segment of the video to ask you some questions. And please write your answers, or please write your answers, class, in our live stream's comment section. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. Let's start, class, with this first video clip or the first segment or part of this video. Okay, now question, class. What do you think is the reason why is this lady or woman happy? And what can you say about her nose? Again, please write your answers in the comment section. Okay? Again, why do you think this woman or this lady is happy? Ano po bang okasyon? Okay? And what can you say about her nose, class? Okay, we have. Okay, Christine answered. The reason why she's happy is because it's Valentine's Day and she will have her first date with a man, with Steven. Oo. So parang napanood na ni Christine yung video na to. I think she is happy because she has an event to go to. Her nose is not that attractive, but it's wonderful, according to Jane Wency. All right, let's proceed to our next segment. All right. So, what do you think upon receiving the text? What do you think will she do next? And if you are having or if you will be having a date, what will be your preparations? Okay, let me check your answers. Happy because of a date. Okay. According to Francis. Okay. Bianca answered, I think the lady is happy because there must be an important event that she will attend to. All right.
Okay, see you there.
On her nose. Okay. According to Lori, she will do some preparations with herself. Okay. If I'll be having my date, I will do some proper grooming and make myself more attractive. Lawrence answered, I think the woman is satisfied to her life. She's very much normal even though she has nose like that. All right? Maricel answered, she is going to put something in her nose para magandang tingnan pag nagkita sila ng kanyang kadate. Oo, parang tama ka dyan, Maricel. All right, let's proceed to our next part or portion of the video.
Hi, are you Steven?
All right, now, what do you think is the first reaction of the man upon seeing the lady? Okay, let me check your answers. Okay? Anong naging reaction ng man upon seeing the lady, yung ka-date niya? Paulo answered, in love at first sight. Ganun ka ba, Paulo? Na in love ka ba sa first sight or sa second sight? Francis answered, the man looked shocked. Jane Wency said, astonished. All right? Now let us proceed to our
Let's talk.
Linda,
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
You hungry?
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Never mind. For a beautiful girl like you, I will wait for a lifetime.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
You know, when we are talking on the phone, I know I'm already in love with you.
Just take it slow, please.
How about slow dance with me?
Slow dance? Yeah, sure.
Shall we?
Okay, now, what do you think will happen next class? Okay, let's proceed. All right. Now, with the situation, why did the man react that way? What do you think will he do upon knowing the lady's real appearance? So ano kayang mangyayari, class? Okay? I think the man will kiss the woman according to Jane Wency. All right? So, upon knowing, or upon the man, no, nakita ng man na, or ni Steven, na hindi pala totoo yung ilong ni lady. Okay. So, according to Lorenzo, the fake nose will be removed. The man will be shocked and the woman will be panic. will panic. Okay. CJ Hermoso said, I think the man will get disappointed. Okay. Alan said the man will get frightened. Okay. Maricel mentioned, I'm sure he is disappointed, sir, knowing that the girl's nose is fake. Oo. Okay. Now, let us proceed to the next part.
Oh no! My nose!
All right. Now, what do you think will happen next class? If you were the man, how will you manage the situation? And if you are the lady, what will you do? All right? Let me check your answers for these questions. If you were the man, how will you manage the situation? Or if you are the lady, what will you do? Okay? Miji said he was shocked and maybe disappointed about the truth. Well, Fred says, if I were the man, I would not let her go and talk to her first. Totoo ba? Well, Fred, if I were the lady, I would definitely apologize for pretending. Andrea says, if I were the lady, I'd walk out dahil mahihiya siya. Okay? Maria Gloria said, if I were the man, I would still treat her the same way I treated her before, since it is not all about the appearance. Moreover, if I were the girl, I would be sad, but I would admit and apologize that it is not my real appearance and I was just faking it. All right? Thank you for your answers. Magaling po. Okay. Next.
I have to go.
Linda, wait.
I'm so sorry.
You don't need to say you're sorry.
Okay. Let's proceed.
Say you're sorry. I think your nose is beautiful, and I have something to tell you. I understand your feeling.
Okay. Now, if you were the lady, what would be your reaction upon seeing the real face of the man? Okay? What is your reaction, class, in this portion of the video? Hazel says, if I were the man, I will let her explain and accept her explanations. Okay? Nashock din ba yung lady upon seeing the man na wala pala siyang buhok? Na kalbo, according to Bitsy? Kalbo. Oo. Miji said, I will be shocked too. Paolo says, I will feel surprised. Okay?
Say you're sorry.
Okay, last part. All right. So what do you think will be the ending of the story? Okay. Now let us answer, right? I have now here some follow-up questions in relation to the video. All right? What is the summary of the story, or who can give the summary of the story? Okay? Sino pong makapagbibigay ng summary sa story? And second question, how are you able to arrive at each prediction in each segment to the story? Number 3, what conclusion can be derived from the story? And number 4, what recommendation can you give to the characters in the story? All right. Well, Fred answered. Linda pretends to have. Okay, let me answer. Let me read the answer of Wilfred. No, Linda pretends to have a pretty nose to become more attractive when she faces her date Steven. However, Steven finds out that Linda only used a fake nose. Yet he still appreciates Linda and shows her that he is bald and is only using a wig. And they accepted each other. All right. How about for question number 2? How were you able to arrive at each prediction in each segment to the story? Okay? Okay, Jean Kenneth for question number 1 says they will choose to love and accept each other. Now, Stacy, because of their movements, expressions, and setting. Oo. So based on the data na nakita natin sa video. Number 3, what conclusion can be derived from the story? And for number 4, what recommendation can you give to the characters in the story? Okay. So, what conclusion? Anyone who could write or can write your answer to the third question? Stacy answered, you don't have to match the society's beauty standard to look beautiful and to be accepted. Tama ka dyan, Stacy. Okay? You should be true to yourselves, no, or yourself. Or the characters should be true to themselves. All right? Now, for number 4, what recommendation can you give to the characters in the story? Anong marerekomenda natin? Okay, based on the conclusion that we have derived from the story. Maricel says, embrace our flaws. Tama. Oo. Stacy answered, I would recommend them to be true to, to themselves and to the people around them. Very good, Stacy. Okay, so they must accept who they are if they truly love each other, and they must show the real appearance. Pag mahal mo ang isang tao, class, dapat wala kayong tinatago sa isa't isa. Tama ba? Oo, sabing ni Dihanyo Fatima, to the characters of the story, as cliche as it may seem, I recommend them to be honest and embrace their flaws. All right? Thank you for all your answers. Marami pa po tayo mga sagot dito sa ating comment section. Okay? But let us proceed, class. Okay? Now, okay. Wait. Okay? Now, your responses, no, sa questions natin ngayon are actually about summary, conclusion, and recommendation, which provide significant details about the video that you have watched. Likewise, in research class, these 3 parts play crucial roles in our research paper. Research suggests that a well-written summary, conclusion, and recommendation can give us a good or sound research output. And we will learn more about this in our tutorial session today. Right? Now, the summary class has 2 types. It can be the summary of the research or the summary of findings. What is the difference, class, between summary of research and summary of findings? Right? So we have here, okay, these are the components or the elements to be checked in order to assure the completeness of your research summary. So you can do your research summary by supplying the needed information. Okay, your summary of research includes the following: objectives of the study, and then the statement of the problem, meaning there should be a brief statement about the main purpose of the study. Then you need to include your respondents, the population or your respondents, sampling procedures or the sampling design. Then we have the method or methods of research employed. You can also include the research instruments used, and of course the statistical treatment or treatments applied, or the hypothesis tested if there is any. There should be no explanations made in this part. Okay. The summary of research class is different from your research abstract. Take note, which is also needed to be included and be placed after the title page. What is a research abstract? So kailangan natin makita yung difference nila. Okay, when you say research abstract, it is a concise summary of the research topic described as research in miniature. This should include methods and final results of the research paper. This is composed of 200 to 250 words, which runs for a maximum of 1 page single space. And actually, by reading the abstract class, dapat yung reader natin or the people will read our abstract should be able to decide whether they should read the full research or not. So dapat maganda po ang paggagawa ng ating research abstract. And it must contain, or it may contain at least three keywords. For example, when your research is titled, when you have this research titled, The Effect of Project Skew on the Student's Academic Performance in Pre-Calculus. Okay, so the intervention here is your project skew, which is the use of educational websites or the use of educational websites in the classroom. So your keywords can be educational websites, academic performance, and pre-calculus, or mathematics. So pwede yan yung keywords natin. Ang purpose ng keywords natin para when you publish your research, mas madali po siyang mahanap. Right? Now, I have here the definition of the summary of findings. So, kabaliktaran sa summary of research. Sa summary of findings, the findings can be lumped together, but clarity demands that each specific question under the statement of the problem must be written first. So in this part, we are going to interpret and summarize the findings based on the collected data. So we need to go back to our specific research questions and we need to provide answers to each research question based on the data that we have gathered. So dapat lang yung number or dami ng bullets sa summary of findings natin must be equal or pareho sa dami ng specific research questions sa inyong study. So dapat lahat or dapat masagutan lahat ng research questions natin. Hindi po pwedeng inilagay mo lang yung research questions sa statement of the problem pero hindi mo sinagutan. So mali po yan. Okay? Now, what is a conclusion? Okay, a conclusion are inferences, deductions, abstractions, implications, interpretations, general statements, and or generalization based upon the findings. So this is the part, or this in this part, in this portion class of your research study, this gives meaning to your research and gives meaning to your results. And according to Wilkinson, the objective of the conclusion section is to examine the results, right? Determine whether they solve the research question, compare them within themselves and to other results. For example, from your literature, if your results are the same or different from the results of other studies that you have included in your literature review, kung pareho ba yung results ninyo sa mga previous studies or magkaiba ba yung results. So kailangan natin ma-include yan sa conclusion. And then, explain and interpret them. We're going to explain and interpret them and then draw conclusions or derive our generalization. So take note, class, that no conclusions should be made that are not based upon the findings. Okay? So we need to limitahan natin yung conclusions natin to the data na ating nakuha, okay? To the data presented. So dapat hindi tayo mag-introduce ng new data or new material. So we need to be objective and we need to avoid exaggerating or manipulating the data just to prove our point. All right? Now, here are some common phrases that we can use in writing the conclusion section. Okay? All this requires us to, we can use this phrase, all this requires us to. So we need to write, propose the next action or an alternative ideas. Next, another phrase that we can use, altogether, these findings indicate, then we need to point out the logical result. Or we can use, finally, it is important to note, then you need to state your strongest point. And then we can also write the phrase, in conclusion. And then we need to restate your thesis with greater emphasis. And then, next phrase that we can use, it is evident that, then you need to point out the logical result. Or you can use, in light of the evidence, or it should be evident that we need to. Right. Now, let me present to you a sample chapter 5, which contains the conclusion and recommendation of the study entitled Weekly Allowance of Students and Their Perception in Online Shopping. Okay, so we have here our chapter 5, conclusions and recommendations. So we can write this introductory statement. This chapter contains the conclusions drawn from the analysis and interpretation of the data discussed in the preceding chapter, and the recommendations of the researchers based on the conclusions. So we have Based on the findings of the study, the following conclusions were drawn. Majority of senior high school students of De La Salle Araneta University, for example, if the research local, no, or yung study ginawa po siya sa De La Salle, okay, De La Salle Araneta University Senior High School for the second term of the academic year 2017 to 2018 are females with the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics track, accounting for the highest number of enrollees. On the average, senior high school students received 635 pesos allowance per week. All right? We can also have this conclusion. In light of the evidence, DLSAU senior high school students have a positive perception towards online shopping in terms of security and convenience, but do not perceive products sold online to be of good quality. Number three, third conclusion, there is no significant relationship between the weekly allowance of DLSAU senior high school students and their perception on online shopping. Or you can say, in conclusion, there is no significant relationship, blah, 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 blah. And these conclusions, class, will lead to our recommendations. All right? So what is a recommendation? Or recommendations are suggested actions and the specific procedure that can help solve issues. Okay? So we need to focus our recommendation to the practical recommendations lang or agreeable recommendations. Or we need to suggest feasible actions acceptable to the audience. Okay? But take note, class, that we need to focus on the practical or agreeable solutions. Okay? So dapat practical, ha, hindi po yung hindi kayang gawin ng beneficiaries or ng researcher. All right? So here are some tips, no, in writing a recommendation. So this will answer the question, what are the significant indicators of a recommendation statement? So as what I have mentioned earlier, the recommendations must contain practical suggestions that will improve the situation or solve the problem investigated in the study. Second, it should be addressed to persons, organizations, or agencies directly concerned with the issues or to those who can immediately implement the recommended solution. So that is why in writing our recommendations, we need to consider also the beneficiaries, no, that we cite or cited, na na-cite natin sa significance of the study. All right? So kung sino-sino yung mga beneficiaries mo sa significance of the study, dapat mailagay mo sila doon or dito sa recommendation section. Okay? Or anong magagawa ng inyong results, ng inyong findings sa kanila. Alright? Sa mga beneficiaries mo. Okay? Third, you need to present another topic which is very relevant to be or which is very relevant to the present study that can be further investigated by future researchers. So you can also include areas for future research. You can give at least one example lang kahit hindi na marami. All right? And however, class, never recommend anything that is not part in your study or is not being mentioned in your findings. So you need to give suggestions, okay? Dapat based lang sa results, no? Or based lang sa findings sa study. Or you can actually include suggestions. Maybe you can include suggestions on how to improve the study based on the limitations. All right? Okay? Then lastly, we are going to write the recommendations using the imperative mood of the verb. So in your English class, what do you mean by imperative mood? Okay? When you say imperative mood, it is to express a request or a command. So for example, the recommendation which says implement, okay, it started with a verb, implement an enrollment preservation system where students sign up for a specific enrollment time slot. So this is a good example of a recommendation because it is written using the imperative form of the verb. All right? Now, let us take a look at this example or sample recommendation section. Given the study, weekly allowance of students and their perception in online shopping. So we have, based on the conclusions, the following recommendations are proposed. Online retailers must improve the selection of the products they sell. They sell online by raising quality standards that are in line with the expectations of consumers, including senior high school students. So in here, meron po tayong mga notes na kailangan ma-improve sa recommendation section na ito. Okay? So we can actually, aside from stating that, we can actually add recommendation or recommendations to answer the question, what else can they do based on the conclusions drawn? Ano pang pwedeng kailangang gawin or magagawa ng retailers based sa findings sa study? All right? So, you can add more, okay? Add more, let's say, solutions, okay, based sa results sa study. We can actually add a recommendation to answer the question, who are the other beneficiaries of the research mentioned under the significance of the study? And what can you suggest to them based on your conclusion? So, kulang po. So, no? So, kailangan natin maisulat din yung ibang beneficiaries, no? Yung naisulat lang dito, yung isang beneficiary which is yung online retailer. So, aside from online retailers, kailangan ma-include din natin ang ibang beneficiaries, okay? And what can you suggest to these beneficiaries based on your findings or based on your conclusions? Okay? Then, yung third recommendation niya, okay? Itong last na recommendation, pwede po to, no? Future researchers may consider doing a correlational research on consumers' perception on online shopping and their income or socio-economic status. So tama po yung pag-include ng area for future research. So pwede ding pag-aralan natin kasi yung dito is experimental, so pwede ding pag-aralan yung ang study na ito is correlational. So, pwedeng pag-aralan din yung experimental side. Okay? Gawing experimental research study po yung study. Pwede po yang maging isa sa mga recommendations natin. Alright? And then, experimental researchers that seek to evaluate interventions that may help improve consumer perception on the quality of online products may also be conducted to inform online retailers of innovative practices that can increase their sales. Baliktad po yung explanation ko kanina, no? Yung study natin is correlational, tama ba? Oo. So, yung tama, yung recommendation niya, going experimental yung study at merong mga limitations. So in here, nagbigay siya ng mga suggestion on how to improve the study based on the limitations of his research. Okay? So, quality. So kailangan ma-include para ma-improve yung consumer perception on the quality of online products. Okay? So pwede po yan maging isa sa mga recommendations natin sa study based on the conclusions or based on the findings sa study. Right? So, now that you have learned how to write the summary, conclusion, and the recommendation, you're able to reach the final step, no, of developing a research paper. The summary, conclusion, and recommendation by all means completes the whole research paper. However, you still have a great task ahead, class, which is to submit your final paper, okay, in the coming weeks. Depending on your school or your research teacher or your research advisor, meron pa pong iba na mga attachments na dapat nating i-attach or ma-include, no, sa manuscript natin. So, tanungin niyo po yung mga research advisors ninyo or yung research teachers ninyo kung ano pang mga kailangan na ma-provide natin para makumpleto ang ating research paper. Okay, so good luck, class, para sa paggawa natin ng ating complete research paper. Okay. Now, okay. Let's apply. Now that you have gained a clear understanding on our topic today, let us apply what you have learned by answering the following activity. So in this part, you are going to identify the term asked in the following statement. Okay, and please write your answers in our live streams comment section. All right, are you ready? Let's have number 1. Okay, question number 1. It is a brief statement about the main purpose of the study, the population or respondents, the period of the study, method of research used, the research instrument, and the sampling design. All right? So, you're going to identify the term asked in this statement. Ano po yung term na dinefine dito sa statement? Okay. Again, it is a brief statement about the main purpose of the study, the population or respondents, the period of the study, method of research used, the research instrument, and the sampling design. Okay. Let me check your answers in our comment section. Julian answered abstract. Paolo also answered abstract. Mali po. Okay. Yung abstract natin, meron pong findings na dapat natin mailagay. Stacy answered summary of research. Correct. This is summary of research. Iba po yung research abstract. All right. Let's have our second question. Number 2, these are suggested actions and the specific procedure that can help solve issues. Again, number 2, these are suggested actions and the specific procedure that can help solve issues. Okay, what's your answer for question number 2? This is, okay, correct, recommendations. Stacy, Maria Gloria, Andrea, Jean, Kenneth, all answered recommendations. You are correct. Very good. Number 3. It is a type of summary wherein the findings may be lumped together, but clarity demands that each specific question under the statement of the problem must be written first. Okay? Ano po yung sagot natin for question number 3? All right? Okay, you are correct. The answer is summary of findings. Okay. Stacy answered summary of findings, correct? Okay. Let's proceed to our fourth question. Maria Gloria also answered summary of findings. Very good. Okay, fourth question. These are inferences, deductions, abstractions, implications, interpretations, general statements, and or generalization based upon the findings. Okay. Easy lang po itong question number 4. This is, all right, you are correct. This is conclusion or conclusions. Okay. Let me check your answers in the comment section. Okay, Stacy, Maria Gloria, Paulo Tomamak answered conclusions. All right? Now, for this second part, you are going to tell whether if the given statement is stating a conclusion or a recommendation. All right? Let's have number 1. In times of recession, individuals spend less money on meals away from home. Is this a conclusion or a recommendation? Okay? Again, in times of recession, individuals spend less money on meals away from home. You write the word conclusion or recommendation. CJ Hermoso says conclusion, correct? Fatima, Andrea, Stacy answered conclusion, and you are correct. The answer is conclusion, right? Number 2, concentrate data text sales on your largest accounts. Is this a conclusion or a recommendation? Again, please write the word conclusion or recommendation in our comment section. Okay? For number 2, you are correct. The answer is recommendation. Okay? So CJ Hermoso answered recommendation. Jean Kenneth. Andrea also answered recommendation, as well as Paulo and Fatima. Let's proceed to our third statement. Most of your business comes from your top 10 customers. Is this a conclusion or a recommendation? Okay. Number 3, this is. Okay, you are correct. This is this is conclusion. Okay. Let me check your answer. Julianne answered conclusion. You are correct, Julianne. Okay. Stacy, Andrea, Jean, Kenneth, all answered conclusion. Okay. Very good. For number 4, absenteeism among employees with families decreases when they have adequate child care. Is this a conclusion or a recommendation? Okay. Correct. This is conclusion. Very good. Number 5, employ full security and sanitation. Is number 5 a conclusion or a recommendation? Okay, let me check your answers. Number 5, you are correct, no? This is recommendation. All right, very good. And yeah, Julianne answered recommendation, as well as Stacy. Very good. And Hazel Ann, as well as Paolo and Crishale. Last number 6, exposure to other abiotic factors yield significant result. Is this a conclusion or a recommendation? Last number 6. All right, you are correct. This is conclusion. Okay, tama po si Julianne, who answered conclusion. Very good. As well as Stacy, Jean Kenneth, and Chris Shale. Congratulations, class, for answering it all correctly. All right, so do you have any questions? May mga tanong po ba? Now, for your assignment class, following the guidelines presented in this tutorial class, you are going to write the summary of your findings, okay? The summary of your research as well, and your research abstract, no? As well as the conclusion and recommendation, all right? You may post it in your FB timeline and use the hashtag #IIISCR. Again, the hashtag is #IIISCR. Sa mga hindi po nakapanood ng ating weekly live tutorial sessions, you may follow me sa aking Wakelet account na nakalagay sa inyong mga screens. Or pwede ding scan ang QR code na nasa inyong mga screens. Ang ating recorded videos ng Itulay tutorial sessions in inquiries, investigations, and immersion are compiled in our Wakelet account. At iyan po ang ating online tutorial sa linggong ito. See you po in our next tutorial session. Same time, same day. This has been your Itulay tutor, Sir June, na nag-iiwan ng katagang, the research of today shall speak the innovations of tomorrow. Thank you and happy researching!